Bethelen,
Yes, sir.
may I have the big screen, please?
Oh, how do I release it?
You should be able to left click on the share, the computer share icon. Yes. Thank you. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Social Media Mastermind. My name is Jerome Lewis, and I will be your host for today. I'm here with my lovely co-host Bethelen. Bethelen, please introduce yourself.
I am so thankful for Jerome. He gives and gives and gives his knowledge. And will you tell everybody about your book?
Yes. All right. So I am writing a book, and I'm writing a book on lead generation and marketing for real estate agents. And Bethelen, I appreciate that. You're holding me accountable. I plan on having this book finished by the end of January, and I'm kind of an overachiever, so I want to have it finished before then. So I'm writing the book, and I have a surprise today. I'm going to actually like, I have like different chapters and different guides around that book, and today I'm going to tell you about how you can get a chapter from that book at the end of the class. So you stick around, I'll let you know how you can get that. But Thelen, I appreciate that. You got anything else before I get into the presentation?
No, I can't wait to learn all about Facebook.
Thank you. I appreciate you. So what we're going to do today is our class. Give me a second. So we got 30 people here now, and I like to encourage engagement and interaction. So I have a presentation, and we have a lot to go through today. So I might go a little fast. But pay attention. So I'm going to lean on the audience. One of the things that I need from you is I need you to let me know. Right now, I'm about to share my screen, and I need you to tell me if you can see my screen. So in the chat, I need everybody to type yes if they can see my screen. And as long as I get 50% engagement, we will proceed. That's generally how our sessions work. The majority rules. All right, perfect. So I'm going to go through this presentation. But before we do that, first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our class. This is the Social Media Mastermind. We have this class every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, right? It's the end of the year, and we're still having this class. So unless there's a holiday, we consistently have these classes, right? All right, so a little bit about me. My name is Jerome Lewis. I am in the Philadelphia area. I like to call myself a silly and serious millennial, and I'm also a technologist. Why that matters to you is because I like to take technology that seems complicated and overwhelming, and I like to simplify it and help you understand how you can use it into your business. I'm also an introvert, so I like to throw that out there because, I know some people identify with that. Next, I love, and I picked up on the DISC behavior assessment here at EXP. I love to bring that up because it helps you quantify people's behaviors, their personalities, and a little bit about me, my behavior, my personality. I am a high D and a high C. That means I'm an implementer. I'm also very detailed. So what that means for you is I'm very results oriented. So when you interact with me, when you see my presentations, I care about getting you results, right? Next, I'm a real estate investor, real estate instructor, and if you want to learn more about me, you can visit jeromlewis.com. So what I'm going to do is going to lean on the audience. Are we ready to proceed? Can you see my slide and you see my the 3 pictures of me? Type yes in the chat so I can know to proceed. All right, thank you everybody that's participating. I appreciate you. All right, again, this is our Social Media Mastermind. We have this class every Thursday. I'm just going to show you a little bit of the structure. So normally week 1 is Facebook marketing. Week 2 is Instagram marketing. Week 3 is, this is still tentative, but I believe we're going to have a permanent video marketing week around general video marketing, because week 4, we generally do YouTube for real estate, and then week 5, which is this week, we do an open workshop or a wild card. So this is week 5, so we're going to do a wild card. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that wild card in a bit. All right, so these are some tips for you to get the most out of this training, right? Take screenshots. Take as many screenshots as you can. Take notes. Don't be afraid to use that keyboard, use your device, whatever you got to do. If you got to take pictures of the screen, utilize that, right? Next, when I do my presentations, because it's tough to learn everything that you need to know or learn in this business in under an hour. So one of the things that I like to do for you is I like to include different resources, different links, different references within my presentations. And the way you can tell, right, because people like to ask for the slides, I share the slides at the end, right? For people that are interested, the way you can tell the resources and the links is if you see on my screen, there's a link. This little icon is a link. So anytime you see that icon, that's a link directly in the presentation for you to click on and get access to that slide or that reference. Next, I want to encourage you to please be engaged and be involved, because that's the best way that you're going to learn, by taking action and implementation. So education, training, that's one phase of our business. We become aware, but we still have to get out there. We got to be engaged. We got to be involved, and we got to take some action. So next, I have some of these trainings we do record and get out to YouTube. I generally try not to share all of them because people get lazy. They say, "Oh, I want the recording," and they never show up to the class. So some of the stuff we just don't record or put on YouTube or stuff or anything like that. So a lot of times people ask, "Is this recorded?" Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. If you want the real effort, if you want the content, you need to show up live. That's the only guaranteed way to get it. So I shared the link in the chat for YouTube. You can access that YouTube, and then we also have a Facebook group. I want to share a link to the Facebook group. So sometimes we'll stream to that Facebook group as well some of this content. And you can also pop in that Facebook group and learn what you need or what you want to learn, mastermind with others. So again, this is our rotating schedule. We got Facebook, Instagram, we got video marketing, then we got YouTube. Now this week 5, this is an open questions and answers. So it's an open workshop, or this is a wild card. So this is a wild card, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about the importance of follow-up, and we're going to do that through Facebook marketing and Facebook retargeting, right? Before we get there, I was doing some research a while back, and I pulled some statistics, right? So why should you care about social media? These are some statistics that matter to you and why you should care about social media. Because sometimes I see people, they get in this business, I don't care about social media. I don't want to get involved in social media. It's not relevant. And social media is very relevant. So these are some stats that I want you to see so you can start to understand why social media matters. However, understand that social media is a complement to your other marketing strategies. So you can use it as your primary or your only, but it will be most effective when you start to combine it with your other marketing strategies. So there are some people that just completely dominate using only social media. But these are some stats that I want to show you, right? It says sales reps who are active on social media get 45% more sales. Sales rep that use social media as sales channels, they get 50% more likely to hit their sales quota. So just by using and implementing social media into your business, you increase your chances of success. And these are not little numbers. These are high numbers. We got 45%, 51%. Then we got 78%. 78% of salespeople who use social media perform better than their peers. So this is why we should care about social media. This is why social media is effective, right? And it's not our only form of advertising and our only form of marketing, but it is an important part of advertising and marketing. And so directly from National Association of Realtors, social media is the top lead generation tool for realtors. It's the number one tool. It was like 51% or something like that. And as I told you before, all of these links, you see links in here. These are links that you can click on and refer to the data, the statistics, the things that I'm referencing. All right, so let's get into the presentation. Before we go, I'm going to lead on my audience. Are we ready to proceed? Type yes in the chat if you're ready, so we can move forward. Roger, please mute your device. You can't click on the links on the screen, Marty. You have to collect the slides. The links on the screen aren't clickable. All right, so we're ready to proceed. Bethelen, could you mute? we're ready to proceed. So today's presentation, right? And I forgot to mention this. When we're in week, let me go back. When we're in week 1, typically that's when I do a presentation around Facebook. However, what I've done was I'm bringing in a special guest, Krista Mishore. She's going to come and she's going to show us. So instead of me doing week 1 on Facebook marketing, Krista is going to come in and she's going to show us how we can use Facebook and specifically video marketing to have success in her business. She's generating millions, right, from Facebook and Facebook marketing using these tactics. So I wanted to have her in because she's one of those success stories that proves that Facebook marketing does work. A lot of times people will say that it doesn't work. It's not that Facebook's not working, it's that we're doing it incorrectly. So our week 5, what we're doing today is I'm going to talk about the importance of remarketing and retargeting. And then when you come next week, you get a perspective on how Krista is dominating her market and her business using Facebook and Facebook advertising, right? All right, so let's get into the presentation. We are talking about using Meta for Facebook lead generation. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go through some very basic stuff, right? But then a little bit later, it's going to get advanced. So bear with me and let's begin. All right, so Facebook slash Meta for real estate, right? Facebook is a Facebook. They just changed the name of their company, like their holding company, to Meta. So you're going to see Facebook. You're going to hear me say Facebook. You're going to hear me say Meta. You're going to see some stuff written as Facebook, some stuff written as Meta. It's the same. It's interchangeable. So today, our objective is to understand the importance of automatic lead conversion and follow-up. Our objective is to understand the importance of remarketing and retargeting. And then a question that we get a lot, somebody asked this in the last class too, is business versus personal accounts and professional accounts. We're going to talk about the importance of that because the strategies that we're talking about today, they become effective when we use the proper account. All right, so let's go over some basics, right? Some very basic stuff, right? I told you we're going to do some very basic stuff, and we're going to talk about marketing. So first and foremost, what is marketing? Sometimes we get confused or we don't understand marketing as a concept overall. So we're going to define marketing in the simplest terms possible. So I'm going to try to take some of these complex and foreign subjects and make them sound very simple. That's my objective today. I want to lean on the audience. Are we ready to proceed? I want to make sure everybody's following along. Type yes in the chat if you're ready to proceed. All right, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate the engagement. All right, so advertising and marketing defined. So marketing, what is marketing? Marketing is the process, right? So it's a process. It's the process or activity of getting prospects interested in your company, product, or service. So the thing that I want to emphasize here is that marketing is not something that you do one time. It's a process. So it's constant. It's an activity. It's not something you do once. It's constant. It's a system. It's a process activity. So that's what marketing is. I want you to understand that and the importance of marketing. All right. So the way I like to explain it is there are many foreign subjects or foreign ways to explain marketing. And in my experience, the best way to simplify marketing, right, is to break it into the 3 phases. And you can take it up to 6, 7 and stuff like that. But the simple and the simplified way to explain marketing or break it up is you break it up into 3 phases. And the phases that we're going to break it up into, right? We're going to, pay attention. This is the best way I find marketing to be explained in the different phases. So phase 1 is lead generation. That's where you generate all your business. You get all those leads interested in your product or service, right? Phase 2 is lead conversion. This is where you work on converting that customer or prospect. This is where you follow up. And then we have phase 3, which is retention and referrals. And this is where we maintain, once we've done business or we converted that lead, we maintain the relationship so we can get referrals. So these are the 3 phases of marketing. We've got lead generation, lead conversion, and then we have retention and referrals. This is the simplest way for us to understand marketing. 3 is simple. All right, next we're going to talk about what is a lead. So I find that sometimes people find it confusing to understand what a lead is. So we're going to qualify, like, what's a qualifiable lead? Next, a reality check about leads. Every conversation is not a lead, right? People on a list somewhere in a database that you're not actively using, those are not leads. Well, what is a lead? A lead is a prospect or customer that has shown interest. They have shown interest in something that you're offering, you're advertising, your product. They've shown interest. So they've raised their hand. They've raised their hand and said, hey, I'm interested in this thing somehow, virtually, right? Sometimes they virtually raise their hand by clicking on your ad or watching your video, but they say, I'm interested in that service that you're doing, right? That's what a lead is. Next, a lot of times we as business professionals, right, we distance ourselves a little bit. And I want us to remember there's an overarching concept beneath all business, and business is people. So I want you to think about your leads the same way. Like, leads are people. So one of the things that I don't appreciate hearing us say as sales professionals is that these leads are trash, these leads are quality, these leads are no good. Because underneath these low quality, these trash leads or whatever, like we how we label these people, these leads, underneath of that, underneath the leads is people. So we have to remember and understand that leads are there. It's not a foreign concept. It's not a foreign thing. Leads are not a thing. They are people. So we call them leads in our business because we're getting I don't know how we came up with the concept, but they're not leads. Underneath the leads, those are people. So if we can understand and start considering them as people, we can have better success. In general, like, most great marketers understand the importance of knowing who you're talking to. Like, Beth Ellen talks about tribes a lot. Right? She talks about tribes a lot, and it's like there's a human connection underneath all of that because they're people. So understand that leads are people, and the better we can understand people and the more we can appeal to people, the better our results will be. So we're going to call them leads, but underneath we have to understand and realize that these are people. And people, we are irrational, right? We're irrational. Sometimes we got life going on. We got family. Things happen. So all these leads aren't working. Things happen. They're people. We're pretty irrational. So if we can keep that in mind when working with these leads, we'll have better success. All right, so this is a story. I don't want to go into the story because we got so much to go through. But really quickly, there was I had a client. He was talking about he's like, I need success. I need to generate some leads. And I asked him, I said, well, what are you doing to generate? How many leads are you talking to? And he's like, look, I talked to my friends, mom, cousins, uncle, and I told them I was in real estate. And I was like, well, that's not really a lead. You didn't, that's not a lead. That doesn't qualify. So I want us to understand the importance of uh, effective lead generation. Right? Leads are like, at the very least, we need to collect information so we can follow up with that person. That's what we would consider a lead. So in that brief story that I just told, that colleague, that client, they hadn't collected any information from that person that they were talking about. So it wasn't truly a lead. All right, so what is lead generation, right? So it's all tying together, right? Lead generation is, so remember how we talked about marketing? We talked about marketing being a process or activity. Well, lead generation is the same. Lead generation is a ongoing, right? So we emphasize ongoing. It's an ongoing process or activity that brings interested prospects into your business or funnel process. So that's what lead generation is. It's a ongoing activity or process. We have to always maintain our leads. We have to always modify and check out like what's going on. You can't just you can't set it and forget it. You can set it and maintain it, but you can't forget it. lead generation is always going to require some kind of modifying, monitoring. It's an ongoing process. It's not just something that you do one time. After you establish your offer, like what you do, so as real estate agents, we often help people buy or sell, but you can be a real estate investor, which you buy properties yourself, or you can be I have other clients, they are like educators. Well, once you come up with your offer, that's when your marketing starts. That's when your lead generation process starts. Once you have an offer and you can then offer something to someone, that's when the lead generation and the marketing starts. So these are we're going to talk about some ways to make your marketing ongoing. Like, these are some concepts, these are some ways you can do it. So you can do that with time and effort, right? So you can constantly, this is what most people do because they don't want to spend money, right? So you can make your lead generation ongoing by putting in time and effort, and that would be posting to social media consistently. You have that time, maybe you don't have the money, but you have the time, so you constantly post to social media, you create articles, you create videos, you're putting in time and effort because you don't have that money necessarily. That's one of the ways to make it ongoing. Another way to make your marketing ongoing is budgeting and systems. So you get some money and you put some money into, in this instance, we're going to talk about Facebook marketing. You put some money into that, you put some money into their systems, and it's going to run for you constantly. And then ultimately, like, you can have success with either. You can have success with number one, just the time and the effort. You can have success with number two, which is just with budgeting, marketing, systems, or you can have success with a combination of all of those things combined. So I call that the hybrid. These are ways to make your marketing ongoing. So we have to, I want us to be in the mindset to understand that marketing is an ongoing process and ongoing activity. All right, so these are some concepts on why you need lead generation, right? We want that constant business. We came in real estate to have some success. So one of the ways that we have success is with lead generation. And these are some of the reasons why lead generation is so effective, right? To me, right, I'm a millennial, but to me, I've never straight selling, like, hey, come buy this thing or come do business with me. That's never worked on me. So I put here that it's dying. And to be honest, I don't know if it ever really worked like that. But I don't have enough experience to say if it did or didn't. So to me, it's dying. Things are changing. Customers these days, right, we're more empowered than ever. So we have the internet at our fingertips, and we don't want to be sold. We want value. So how can you provide me value? Well, our marketing can do that, right? So our marketing sells for us. You're curious about how the home buying process works in my market, Philadelphia, for example. Well, guess what? I got some video, I got some content around that, and I'm going to send you that content. That's my value that I'm going to share to you. And while you're reading that content, right? Bullet number three, it's selling for me. So it's giving you my credibility, my authority, my expertise in that marketing. Next, marketing educates and informs. So I just talked about, like, potentially buying a house or selling a house in the Philadelphia area. Well, I can have an entire conversation with that prospect or that seller, or my marketing can have that conversation with that seller for me, right? And I'm not saying that you replace your entire personality or your entire human element with your marketing, but your marketing can do a bulk of the work for you, right? Some of the same questions you get over and over and over again. Well, you can put that into your marketing. Next, marketing brings business to you. So Beth Ellen always talks about the difference between sales and marketing. Well, marketing will bring business to you. You're not chasing leads. It brings business to you. And we all know that when somebody approaches us, it's an easier sell. Lead generation will bring you more predictability. So we get numbers, we get data, we get statistics when we start to do marketing, right? When we start to do our lead generation. So I generated 100 leads and I expect to close 3 leads out of that 100 leads. Now we can be more realistic and have a better vision on what our goals and our objectives is. Lead generation helps us set those clear goals and objectives. And then I talked about this in a prior point, but you get those numbers, you get the data, you get the statistics, and it brings you more structure. It's easier to have conversations around where you want to go in your business, what you want to achieve. All right, so this is this is what we're talking about today. We're going to get into remarketing and retargeting. We're going to talk about the effectiveness of remarketing and retargeting, right? So I want to check in with my audience. I always want to make sure you're following me or we're not having any technical issues. Type in the chat if you are ready to proceed. I need at least 50% engagement. All right, thank you. I appreciate everybody that's participating. All right, so we're going to talk about the importance of remarketing and retargeting, following up. And before we go there, I always get this question, right? And in order for you to implement these strategies, you are going to have a proper account setup. Your account needs to be set up correctly. And I'm going to touch on these points. Like, in order to exist on just about any account online, even offline, like say you start an LLC or you start some kind of business, a person needs to do that. So you need to exist as a person, and then you could create the LLC or the business entity or whatever you need to do. So in order to exist on any social media, we need a personal account, right? We need a personal account. However, so we need a personal account to exist at all, right? But when we're running business and we have like target objectives, target goals, we need the business and professional accounts, right? So different platforms call them different things. Facebook has pages, Instagram calls them accounts. Then you got personal accounts, you got business accounts, you got professional accounts. Essentially, you got personal profiles and you got business professional profiles, right? Those are like the two profiles that you have on most of the social media. So in order to implement the strategies we're going to talk about today, we need professional accounts. In the case of Facebook, we need a Facebook business page. I want to talk about, so people say, should I keep it all on my personal account? And that's a way to have success. That's a way to have success, and it works for some people, but that is not the optimal way to have success and run your business. We're going to talk about like remarketing and retargeting, how we can automate that and why it's important. So in order to do that, again, we need that business account and we need that professional account. One thing I want to mention is, because I'm always talking about video marketing. I'm always talking about video marketing and adding your personality into your marketing, adding your personality into anything you do. So a personal account doesn't mean, so having a business and a professional account, it doesn't mean that you cannot add your personality into your marketing, into your lead generation. So that's what I want to make sure we understand, is that we create that business and we create that professional account, but that doesn't mean we can't add our personality into things. One of the biggest mistakes that we make as professionals is that we try to be all business. And one of the things that separates us is adding our personality into our accounts. So don't confuse a personal account with your personality. All right, so remarketing and retargeting. It sounds like a foreign concept online because of the marketing, the marketers, the technology. It sounds foreign, but remarketing and retargeting, all we're doing here is it's just doing something again. So remarketing, it simply means you marketed to this person before, and what you're going to do is you're going to repeat the marketing to that person, right? Retargeting is the same concept. You have targeted this person, this prospect before, and all you're going to do is repeat targeting that person or that prospect. So here on the screen, the official definition, right, is marketing and targeting a prospect, customer, or client that has already interacted with your business. So that's the whole purpose of redoing it, reintroducing, repeating. So another simpler way, right? Marketing and targeting a prospect or customer. Again, that's all it is. So remarketing and retargeting is just marketing or targeting a person again. All right. Are we ready to proceed? Type in the chat yes if we're ready to proceed. Check in. Okay, perfect. So remarketing and retargeting, right? We talked about those 3 phases of marketing, right? We talked about lead generation, we talked about lead conversion, then we talked about retention and referrals. And remarketing and retargeting, this happens in that middle phase. This happens when we're a lead, when we're trying to convert that lead. Remarketing and retargeting, what we're going to talk about today, is it's going to allow us to correctly follow up with our leads, follow up with our prospects correctly, effectively, and systematically. Because you hear, like they say this, it's to me it's corny, but it's true. But you often hear that the fortune is in the follow up, because it is true. It is essential that we follow up, and this is where many of us are dropping the ball. We're not following up correctly, and today our objective is to get our marketing, get our systems, get our tools to help us with that follow-up process. So understand that lead conversion is still part of our marketing. It's not something, again, like we said before, it's not something that we set and forget. It's an ongoing process. These are some stats. Again, so I love stats. I love data, but these are some stats that I pulled offline about the importance. And I just want to emphasize the importance of follow up, right? So here it says 95% of all converted leads are reached by the 6 call attempt. 6. So a lot of us give up after 1 or 2 attempts. It says here 44% give up after 1 follow up. So if people aren't being reached until the 6 call attempt, we got to do a little bit better with our follow-up process. Here it says 92% of salespeople give up after no sales on a 4th call. Then it says 60% of customers say no 4 times before they say yes. So sometimes they're just saying no to get us off their back. Sometimes they want to, but they're not educated or they're not ready for that process. And today we're going to talk about how we can kind of get them ready automatically using our tools and systems. All right, so this is I have a technology background, so I understand technology pretty well. Like I was telling you in the introduction, I understand it pretty well, and we're going to talk about the speed of technology, right? Like a lot of times in my experience, like technology, it seems like overwhelming. It's like, is technology really moving that fast? Anybody ever feel like that? Type in the chat for me. Let's see how anybody ever feel like that. It's moving too fast. I don't know what's going on. Like, we're one of the most innovative companies here at EXP, and sometimes we're still overwhelmed. Like, we grew, the growth that we had was exponential, and most of it was because of technology. Technology drove that forward for us. So sometimes it seems like, oh my God, it's moving so fast. It's moving so fast. And is it really moving that fast? The answer is yes. Technology is actually growing at a rate of 2 times more than Moore's law. So Moore's law says technology will double every 12 to 18 months. Technology is moving much faster than that when you look into it. So technology is actually moving pretty fast. It's actually moving exponentially fast. So it's not just twice, it's like exponentially, which is, a lot of times it's hard to calculate exponential mentally. We got to use calculators and systems. So these are some graphs that you can look at and you can view a little bit later when you collect the slides. But this is the report of how fast technology is moving. It's a very interesting read. It should take you about 10 minutes, but you get to see, like, wow, how fast is this stuff moving? It's actually moving pretty fast. And when you read that report, you'll get an idea of how fast it's moving. So again, it feels overwhelming. It feels like it's moving so fast, because it is. It's moving very fast. It's like, how do I catch up? Right? A lot of times people say, this is overwhelming. Where do I start? How do I catch up? I feel so behind. Well, it's tough to kind of get ahead. And I want to be honest, it's tough to kind of catch up. You can't do it by yourself. Right? Well, how do you do it? You collaborate. We're going to talk about that. So technology is everywhere, right? Like we used to have, we went from having like maybe one house phone, in my lifetime, we had one house phone to now everybody in the house has one phone at least. Then we got some people with two phones, and then all of the kids, they got tablets. We got multiple computer devices. So technology is everywhere. There's no escaping it. We can't escape it. So how do we coexist, right? Or utilize technology? Well, the way we do that is we collaborate. And we collaborate with other people, right? So we collaborate. Maybe collaborate with somebody that understands technology, or maybe collaborate with the actual technology. So we collaborate, and one of the ways that we collaborate is we give the computers, the algorithms, the technology, we give them the proper instructions. So computers are like at a very fundamental level, they're just algorithms. And the way we kind of instruct algorithms is we do that with, tech this is like a tech term. I learned this from tech. It's not actually it's not, this is in science too, but within computers you have conditional statements, and we're going to talk about that. So what is a conditional statement? A conditional statement is a set of rules performed if a certain condition is met. So basically what conditional statements are is, to simplify, it means if this happens, then do that. So you see here it says if then. So these are what conditional statements are. Like all of the technology is so confusing, but computers basically work on, if this happens, do that. If this happens, do that. It's a bunch of programming that works like that. That's what computers are. That's what technology is. If this, then do that. So here is the conditional statements, right? Remember I said if this, if then. So then we expand. If this, then that. And I want to pause here really quickly, because in this slide, there's a resource, right? There's a lot of times people like ask me for tech tools and different resources, and there's a site called If This Then That, and it will help you automate a lot of your processes. And if you go in, you play around with that tool, and you can begin to understand the if this then that concept, you can get a grip and you can start to understand technology, right? A lot of times people say, oh, I clicked this and I did that. And computers don't do anything that we don't tell them to do. Despite what we feel, they can only work off instructions. So if a computer does something weird, or your technology does something weird, it's because we instructed them somehow, some way. So if this then that is an excellent site for like automating some of your lead follow-up, automating some of your social media, blog posts, YouTube. Just check out the site. It's so much on there that can help you automate. But essentially, this is how all computer algorithms work. If this, then that. Now expand, like let's make it more human. If this happens, then do that. Same concept, but now it's more human. I'm talking like a person. Right? If a prospect does something, then we do something. So now we're becoming more human in our language. And this is all important because this is how remarketing and retargeting works. We need to use technology to do that. Right? Deeper. If a prospect clicks on my ad, then we show them another ad. So now it's starting to make a little bit more sense as a human. If prospect clicks on my ad, then we show them another ad. And then we're going to go even more and get more specific on some like real estate specific topics on and why and when you should use this. So here we go again. If a prospect watched 75% of my video ad, then show them a lead form. So this is technology. This is like the integration of technology and all of this stuff. This is what we can use in our business, right? Here's some more. If a prospect visited 3 pages on my website, then show them a video ad. If a prospect clicked on my ad, then show them a follow-up ad. These are all examples of if then that we talked about. Here's more, deeper. If a prospect watched 75% of my how to buy a house in the next 90 days video ad, then show them my squeeze page. If a prospect viewed 3 properties on my website, then show them an ad with instructions to call my phone number as the CTA. If a prospect opened my lead form but didn't submit their information, then incentivize them with a free home buyer's ebook. So these are real estate specific examples of how we can use the if then. and the computer algorithm stuff that we talked about. Now, the if this then that, like all this stuff that we just talked about, this seems like a little bit complicated. We humanize some of it, but it becomes simpler when we use the right technology, when we use online advertising. So what we're going to do here is like it's a lot here. And what we're going to do is we're going to let technology do the repetitive work. So we're collaborating. Remember, we talked about partner up, collaborate with the technology, collaborate with the people that understand the technology. Don't just get left behind, collaborate. You can build out like it was a lot here, but we can build out one sequence at a time and let it work for us. And the cool thing is that it will work automatically. All right, so remarketing and retargeting, that's the concept of remarketing and retargeting. And then we're going to talk about custom audiences and how you can integrate this all together. So custom audiences, we use custom audiences to automate our lead conversions in this instance. So we're talking about those, we talked about those 3 phases of lead generation and marketing. Well, we're talking about the lead conversion phase. And this is where the remarketing and the retargeting happens. So a lot of us, we know how to generate leads, but we fail to follow up. And this presentation is to emphasize and focus on the importance of following up and using the right systems so you can follow up automatically. All right, so custom audiences work like this. Custom audiences are audiences of people, right? And we're talking about Facebook specifically, but the other platforms have the same thing. Instagram, YouTube, Google. I'm not too sure about TikTok, but most of the platforms have very similar functionality. So custom audiences. Custom audiences are audiences that you can build of people that have shown interest in your business or product, right? So this is a version of remarketing and retargeting. We're going to show someone our offer, our product, our service again. And then an added benefit, at least within Facebook, is that they can create similar audiences to our custom audiences. So then it starts to grow. It starts to grow and it gets exponential, similar to what we talked about before. So Facebook is highly effective with its lookalike audiences. All right, so why does this even matter, right? So this matters because it frees up your time. Right? You're a business professional. It frees up your time so you can focus on other more important stuff, like walking your client through that complex process, right? Like having the conversations that you need to have with your customers, with your prospects. It matters because it does the repetitive work, which eliminates monotony in your day to day, right? You focus on being a human, and we can be, like I said before, we can be irrational. Sometimes we just want to be random, or we don't want to be so systematic. So, let's delegate. We collaborate with the computer, with the algorithm, and we delegate. Let them do the repetitive work, and let us focus on the stuff that matters, the stuff that we, maybe want to do, or the stuff that we're good at. And then it matters because it's going to automate your lead conversion and your follow-up process. Again, a lot of times we struggle with this part. Well, when we use custom audiences, we can automate that lead conversion and follow-up process. All right, so we're talking specifically about Facebook and /Meta, right? And they have a few like custom audience options. These are the different sources, and I crossed out the ones that don't really matter to you as a real estate professional, right? But these are the different custom audiences. You can create audiences based around each of these sources. So these are some use cases, website examples, right? We kind of touched on a little bit of this before, but this is a non-Facebook source, a website, right? If a prospect read 2 of my blog posts on my website, then show them my ad about selling your house using a blog, right? If a prospect spent more than 10 minutes on my website, then show them a lead form ad. If a prospect visited my website in the last 30 days, show them a holiday celebration video ad. These are just some example use cases that you can use in your business. Here's more. Customer list. You can build a custom audience around a list that you have. Clients from the past, sellers on a delinquency list, people on a divorce list, some kind of email list, maybe past clients. Maybe you have some tribes like we talk about. these are custom audience examples that you can use. Next, custom audience. You can build a custom audience around video engagement. So Beth Ellen talks about this one a lot, right? You can build an audience based around people that's watching your content, and you can do that. There's multiple options. You can build an audience around people that watch 3 seconds of your video, people that watch 10 seconds of your video, 15 seconds, or you can have a video. You can create an audience of people that watch 20, 50, 75% of your video. So this is where remarketing and retargeting is effective. It can do a lot of these things, these concepts that we're seeing here. Once we set it up, it will do that for us automatically. And one of my favorites, you'll hear me talk about video a lot because the tracking that you get with video, right? If somebody watched 75% of a video, that means they're actually interested in something that I'm offering. So I'm more likely want to spend money on that particular client or that prospect versus somebody that maybe watched 3 seconds, right? Additionally, this is video. The other forms of advertising, say like a picture, we don't get that data. We can't track those analytics. We can track the engagement, but how do I know how engaged they were? It's a little tough. Well, video makes that a little bit easier. Video makes it easier because we can track the analytics on video content better than we can do with images or just text content. All right, this is where you're going to probably have the most immediate success using this stuff in your business, is using Facebook lead forms, right? You run an ad and you get someone into a particular lead form. So you can run remarketing and retargeting to anybody that opened your form. So you're running an ad and people that open your forms, guess what? You can remarket and retarget them people. But more specifically within those forms, you can get more granular and you can go, somebody that opened but didn't submit a form. Well, if somebody opened and didn't submit a form, show them this particular advertisement or send them down this particular journey, right? If somebody opened and submit a form, for example, you've been asking them to reach out to you, they haven't reached out to you. Well, if somebody opened and submitted a form and I haven't heard from them in 30 days, send them this advertisement. These are different ways that you can use custom audiences to remarket and retarget in your business. Next, these are, and this is probably the second most, right? So we talked about the lead forms. You can have a lot of success with those lead forms. The second one I want you to focus on, and Facebook and Instagram, they're kind of interchangeable. So think about them very similarly. I want to focus on Facebook, but this is the other way you can have the second most immediate success is using just the Facebook pages. So because the websites and the lists, all that stuff gets a little bit technical and complicated, but the lead forms, right, there were 3 terms there, and then the Facebook pages, we all pretty much know how these things work. So you can create audiences of people that do these particular things on your page, right? You can create an audience of all of the people that like your page, right? You can create an audience of anyone that visited your page, right? Or you could create an audience of people that engage with a particular post or a particular ad on your page. These are all custom audiences, and you would remarket and you would retarget people differently in each of these options. So somebody that like or follow your page, like we're going to retarget to them, they might not be interested in buying or selling a house right now. We might have to go through the process of educating them. Maybe it's a home seller and they're just interested, but they need that education. Well, you can, if they liked your page, you can show them particular advertising that warms them up and gets them ready for the home selling process. Or another example, somebody is a renter and they need to be educated on why they should buy a house. And they interacted with your post on why you should buy a house. Well, you can show them you can take them down a particular marketing campaign that warms them up and gets them ready for buying a house. Facebook page. So these are more examples of utilizing the Facebook option. These are more options. You can target people that clicked on a specific call to action button. So maybe you have a call me and those people aren't following up with you, or maybe they are. You can create a specific audience. You can remarket and retarget them based on that particular thing. Something that I forgot to mention when we were talking about personal and professional, right? You want to exist personally, right? And I like to say you want to drive your business page with your personal account. So a lot of times we get on Facebook and we start posting, which I admire, but I want to change that a little bit, right? So I want you to post because I want you to get something done. One is better than none. So I want you to get something done, but what we need to do is we need to create these business accounts, these professional accounts. And when we're running our personal Facebook stuff, we're going to create our content on that business page or that professional profile, and we're going to share it to our personal page so we can get the benefit of the analytics and the tracking. So that's why you want to have the business accounts, because you get those analytics and you get that tracking that you don't get with a personal account. The benefits of having business and professional accounts is the tracking, the advertising, the business assets that come with them. So I forgot to mention that. I just wanted to stop that really quickly. Instagram examples are pretty much the same as Facebook. You can, we're going to blast through that because they don't necessarily matter. We already know what that is, but real quick, events example, right? So sometimes we, as real estate professionals, we run like particular events. You know, somebody may run a community event, or someone may run a home buyer seminar event, right? Well, what if somebody was interested, they show interest, but they need that final convincing on why they should be there? Or what if they respond going, but they didn't show up? You can create audiences of these people and you can send them particular messaging. So a good example I like to do, like for the events case, is if somebody entered your ticket flow and they abandoned the process, well, you can remarket and retarget them, or you can remind them, hey, this event is happening, join the event. And it will happen automatically through remarketing and retargeting. So you don't have to do that. The remarketing and retargeting will do the work for you. All right, so next, conclusion. What we just learned, we learned about the 3 phases of marketing. Particularly, we emphasize remarketing and retargeting, right? And we talked about how we can do that automatically by using Facebook custom audiences. So your action items, like one of your action items would be to go on Facebook/Meta, right? And create these custom audiences. And you can use these slides, right? You can use the slides as an example to start to think about some concepts and think about some ideas that you can use to generate your business. And I talked about, I told you to focus on one particular scenario, and you can have a lot of success. A lot of people have a lot of success by just focusing on the one lead generation, which are lead forms. So you can go in, people that didn't submit, you can focus on just lead form generation and have all the success you need. That's how I started. I started with just lead forms, and I had all the business that I needed. And then as I learned more and I got more familiar with utilizing Facebook, with utilizing remarketing, retargeting, as my education grew, I added more things on. So I just want to emphasize I want to repeat, there are 3 phases of marketing. We have lead generation, we have lead conversion, and then we have retention and referrals. And today we talked about all about how you can use remarketing and retargeting to kind of automate your lead conversion process. So we also talked about technology and not being afraid of technology. We need to collaborate with technology and utilize technology because it's not going to slow down. So we need to adapt. And one of the ways we adapt is we can ease the burden. We can ease the burden and the monotony by using technology. And one subset of this technology, specifically in Facebook, is to use the custom audiences. So I appreciate you all for being here. We have about 5 minutes left. If anybody wants to reach out to me, this is my contact information. Just reach out to me. And I talked about my book like a little bit in the beginning. So this is one of the chapters of my book that I am giving away to EXP people for free. Nobody else gets this, but this is one of my chapters, and this chapter goes into detail about some of the stuff that we talked about, but we're talking about the importance of remarketing, retargeting, and lead generation. And if you want this, right, in addition to the slides, all you have to do, the way my stuff works is leave me some feedback. I'm going to share a link, leave feedback on that link, and I will send this guide directly to you. Furthermore, for the people that want the slides, same situation. All you have to do is leave me a review at the link that I'm going to post in the chat, and I will send you those slides. So I'm ready to take questions. What questions do we have?
What did you mean by a lead form?
Lead forms are forms that leads fill out online for you. So when you market and you start utilizing Facebook correctly, you can get in and let me see. I might be able to find it really quickly. You can showcase, or you can use lead forms in Facebook, and the lead forms you request the contact the persons, right? Because leads aren't things, they're people. You can request their contact information, such as their name, their phone number, address of the I think address of the property. Sometimes they change it, but lead forms are that's what they are. I'll get a picture of it and maybe I'll add it to the slides or something like that to help clarify. So that's why I also appreciate questions, because it helps me clarify, because the lead form sounds foreign, but if I could get a picture of it and show you, it might be easier to understand. So um, any other questions while I'm looking for this lead form?
I have a question real quick.
Go for it.
When you're filling out the forms or filling out a Facebook ad,
Wait, which
is
one?
it
Because
better
they're
to
you
do?
gotta wait. Which one? Because they're different processes, different things.
Oh, okay.
The form or the ad? Which
Well,
one? Yeah, which one do you want to know about?
the ad.
Okay.
When you're filling out a Facebook ad,
Mhm.
is it better to do pay per click or just likes?
So Facebook is not a pay-per-click. So pay-per-click is like Google, Bing, YouTube can be pay-per-click. When Facebook is not pay-per-click. Facebook is it's not pay-per-click is the best way I can say it. I can't think of exactly what to call it right now, but it's not pay-per-click. So let's try to reframe your question. What do you want to know?
Hmm. See, well, I guess that's where the confusion is coming in at.
Uh-huh.
Because when I do a Facebook ad and I want to target real estate, it looks like they want me to just have people interact with just likes as opposed to actually interacting with me on, say, Messenger or something, and you pay for it differently.
Okay,
Like
I
however
got
many
you.
people.
So where are you? You got a lot of background noise. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I think you might be going into Facebook a certain way, which is what might be affecting how the prompts that they show you. And right now on my screen, you can see, like, if you go in, let's do lead form, since someone asked about lead. Can you mute? Because it's a lot of.
Yes, I can see it.
Can you mute? We're getting a lot of background noise from you. Okay, yeah. So if you go into Facebook through the advanced ad manager, or if you go in through using like custom audiences, you get different options. Wait, I'm doing this incorrectly, but I can still show you. Yeah, I'm doing this incorrectly. If you go into, I have a slide on it actually, so I'm just gonna go to that slide and I'm gonna show you. You get different options when you go into Facebook the right way. So a lot of times, and they're changing it, they're making it a little bit better on the options that you get. But this is what you this is what you see. You should be able to see my screen. And if you go into the advanced ad manager, you get these options. You get these different options with different objectives that you can use in your business, and each one of them will yield you different things. So on the first, like I have it like mapped out, and kind of I try to simplify as much as I can. So it says temperatures on the left. These are essentially like when I do the presentation on like specifically Facebook ads. These are the temperatures that you get. And what I think you're saying is they're only giving you the option to get likes or kind of engagement on your page. And engagement is underneath consideration. That's one of the options, but there are several other options that you get when you go in correctly, like brand awareness, reach, and even like right here, like there's a specific option for lead generation that you can use in your business. And that's not going to generate you likes. It's not going to generate you engagement. It's going to generate specifically leads that are interested in what it is that you're offering. So the answer for you would be go in correctly using the advanced ad manager or the proper campaign. And instead of, because what Facebook is suggesting is they're suggesting to you is a engagement campaign of likes from what I'm understanding. And what you want is something different. I don't know what you want, but I know you don't you might not want likes. So where I talked about like lead generation and where I talked about like focusing and lead forms, everyone, we would get that through this lead generation campaign. We would run a lead generation campaign objective. And this is how we generate like a specific goal. So we talked about the different phases of marketing. Well, here we would come in, right? We can build some brand awareness, we can build some reach, but one of the most straight line ways to start getting leads into your business is running a lead generation campaign objective. Is that help?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Anybody else have any questions?
I've tried about 10 times to log into that Gmail stuff, and for some reason it just keeps coming back to the login screen. I can't get past it.
What Gmail?
Is there some way I can just email you send you my email and you could send me the information?
What Gmail? What are you talking about?
Okay, so you sent a link in you put a link in the public area of the comments to
Yes.
give you a review. So and it's going to Google, at least that's where the link goes for me, goes to give a Google review. And so I'm trying to leave the Google review, but every time I click on log in, it's making me log in. It won't let me do that. I put in all my information, it keeps bringing me back to a blue screen that says log into Gmail. So I mean, I know I have my correct login information.
All right, just email me then. Email me with the feedback and I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions? You good?
Can you put your contact information back up on the screen?
Yes. And anybody, so as long as you're an EXP agent too, you can reach out to me on Workplace. I'm pretty available there. Also, I share like a couple of links and resources. I share the Facebook group and the YouTube. Y'all can reach me there as well. And here's the screen. My contact information is there. Screen capture that so you have it. And yeah, just reach out to me. Any other questions?
No, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jerome. You're
welcome.
awesome.
You're
Much
welcome.
appreciated.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. I remember seeing you in one of the other classes. You're welcome, Melissa.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, everybody, no more questions. So I appreciate you all. I will see you next Thursday. Chris is going to come show us, and you're going to see you're going to really start to get some context and understand why this is all important for marketing in your business, because she does a lot using just Facebook and she's having much better success than I am. She's got like a whole team and everything like that. So I'm excited about that, and I'll see you all next week, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern time, same place.